Welcome to Andrea Lake 101, the making of a billionaire. On this week's episode, you guys, we are going to dive right straight into Stickergate and Sticker Wars. We are going to talk, oh yes we are, about how our competitors were featured on Jimmy Kimmel Live this week. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you. And how they gave a bronze statue to Donald Trump the day after they laid off 68 people. This is Sticker Mule. This is one of our biggest competitors. But today we are going to talk about the whole madcapped wild world of Sticker Wars. So not just Sticker Mule. We're going to talk about our biggest competitors. So we're going to talk about the top 5, which is Sticker Mule, Sticker Giant, Sticker App, Sticky Brand, and us. By my estimation, those are the top 5 players in the space. Those are the companies that are just doing multi-million dollars worth of revenue annual. And we are by fucking far, the smallest player among the ones that I just mentioned. We are actually still a small business. We are going to actually talk today too about like what it looks like to scale, why we're scaling, what we're doing, etc., and how my employees just benefit when you guys buy stickers from us, how my employees benefit directly as we get new clients. And as we're going after these really big accounts, how very fucking big of a deal that it is to us. So let's get to it. Today is April 18th, and if all goes well, this episode actually will go up today on April 18th. My gosh, it's an exciting day too because we have a little mini Easter egg hunt throughout the office with like cash prizes stuffed in all the eggs. It's going to be very exciting that we get to have at our Friday group lunch that we have every Friday. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks or brass monkeys. How cute is this? So if you guys happened to see my reel on Instagram, I am going to flesh out the wild, wild, wild coincidental story that I told on that very fast 2-minute reel. If you have not seen it yet, go to Andrea Lake 101 on Instagram. Give me a like, give me a follow. What are you doing? Come on, let's go, let's go. And you will be able to see the condensed, very fun version of this story. But essentially what happened was Sticker Mule, our biggest competitor, who we've been talking about nonstop, so you clearly know who they are if you're here with me in the pod. They do very lots of all of the sales, a lot of them. Do you know how I know that? Because I have 16 employees and I make $1.9 million in revenue. And they have 1,200 employees, or now 1,130 something employees in their company. And so just multiply out how much they might be making to support that many people by selling stickers and t-shirts and things. Their owner loves Donald Trump. That is not the problem. It is not the problem that he loves Donald Trump. The problem is the way that he talks about Democrats. I am not a Democrat or a Republican. The problem is the way that he speaks about women, the way that he speaks to his clients, the way that he responds to people when they comment on his posts, and that it appears to be so tone deaf. Like it doesn't seem like he realizes the way that he's commenting to me. It doesn't appear to me as if he realizes the way that he's coming across. For example, on the day that he laid off 68 employees, he flew to Mar-a-Lago to give a multiple hundred thousands of dollars statue to Donald Trump. Then there was an article which he was quoted in his local newspaper. They're based out of Amsterdam, New York. I know it's confusing when it says Amsterdam. It looks like maybe he's actually in the Netherlands. But no, this is Amsterdam, New York. That is a tiny town. That is a town of 18,000 people. That is a town the size of Sedona, Arizona, where I have lived part-time for 22 years. Like, that is a small, small town. I cannot even imagine if 68 people came into the job market all at once in Sedona. Now, we're a tourist town, and so we actually need employees in different places, and they're really good paying jobs because you get paid on tips. So if you are in Sedona, Arizona, and you're working at like one of Lisa Dahl's restaurants or at the Pink Jeep Tour place or something like that, we also have like a Whole Foods and some other places that pay really generous benefits, etc., to their employees. So there are options there. I don't know about Amsterdam, New York, but it doesn't appear to be like some huge, Sedona is a world famous tourist destination. So there's tons of other jobs that people could be absorbed into, but it sure doesn't seem that way in Amsterdam. And with what appeared to be very little notice. Now, in all fairness, Anthony said in comments on social media, he's like, look, there's a thing going around that says they just got like a 2-sentence email. That's clearly not true. Obviously, conversations were had. And that makes way more sense to me. He also said, like, yes, of course, we made people sign a non-disparagement agreement in order to get their severance. And I was like, okay, I get it. Non-disparagement, super common in business, all of the things. But it appeared to still be very little notice. And then in the Amsterdam newspaper, he said, if you want to be successful in business, you have to automate, automate, automate. This is enabling me to bring in, he said so many contradicting things. He said, this is going to enable me to do more with fewer people at higher wages. And I'm like, then he talked about how he was creating jobs on the day that he fired 68 people. That math is not mathing. Then he flew to Mar-a-Lago and presented this big statue to Donald Trump all on the same day or same weekend or whatever. And at the same time, my season of The Apprentice, which has never been on a big streaming service, I think it was like on, I know that it was on Tubi like for a hot second, but it was kind of before Tubi had gained any popularity. And now it is streaming on Amazon Prime, season 5 of The Apprentice. Oh, spoiler alert, I am the villain. Don't worry, we will get out ahead of that. It's really hard to paint me as a villain, but they did an okay job. But no, I just come across as more like stoic and like an ice princess and really cold. And I'm like, oh, I certainly have that part of my personality when I am on a reality TV show and I feel like I've been trapped there and I really want to leave, and they tell me if I leave, they will make me look crazy. That is a little snippet. If you haven't listened to The Apprentice episodes, listen to The Apprentice episodes. I am about to record part 3 of that when I go to Sedona next week. So let's hop in. So my episode of The Apprentice is up, which I did not know at all whatsoever. I was on the phone with my mom and she was like, oh yeah, we're watching your season of The Apprentice. We're, only watching like one episode. We're rewatching it. Her and my aunt Barbara, and I'm sure my aunt Beth is going to rewatch it. Hi, Beth. And my brother. And so it's just come out on streaming for the first time, like ever. It was never on Hulu. There was no stream. It was like caught in this period of time because it came out in 2006 where stuff wasn't really being released. Anyhow, so on April 11th, that's the day that all the shiz went down at Sticker Mule. That's also the day that my episode of The Apprentice came out on Amazon Prime. And so I was like, what a fucking wild coincidence. And internally in the office, like everybody on the social media committee, so that's Jenny, Hayden, David, Brian, and I, are spitballing and coming up with ideas. And I'm like, okay, cool. For the last I don't even know, a couple weeks, I kept saying, I need to become more active again on socials. We really pulled back my social media just because I was having a really tough life in the first quarter. And also we were really busy. We had a lot of stuff that we were still putting into place. Well, now that stuff is in place. Now we have our number to bid government contracts. Now we have the route to be able to sell to big institutions and universities, etc. So all of the things that we need to really epically scale our company are in place now. And all of that got done in Q1. We also had a bunch of outstanding compliance issues. Those are all back and sorted into place. So we are ready to fucking run. We are done walking. I have said a bunch of times, like, Sticker Mule's not afraid of me. I'm like a fucking gnat flying around their head. I probably do in a year less than what they do in a day. I don't know if that is true. I do not know what their numbers are, but I have all kinds of tricksy ways to calculate numbers. For example, if you have 1,130 employees and you're paying them $20 an hour, just $20 an hour, period, which is way fucking low. Guarantee. I mean, obviously the C team is going to be getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, all of this stuff. And your middle managers are going to be making way more than $20 an hour, probably, whatever. But let's just take minimum wage at a McDonald's in California, which is $20 an hour, and say that your 1,130 people are making $20 an hour times 2080 work hours in a year. That right there is going to come out to $47 million in payroll. Yeah. Yes. Just at minimum wage. That doesn't include any kind of workman's comp, insurances, taxes, benefits, paid time off, nothing. That would just be a generalized thing. Now, I don't know what their numbers are. I am just saying, if you had a bunch of employees that were making minimum wage, that's what your payroll would be. And so if you're paying $87 million plus in payroll, then you're probably making a whole lot more than that. I don't know. So this is a big company. This is a big, large company. Any company that has over 1,000 employees is a big, large, very large company. Our company, which is doing $1.95 million in revenue, they are not concerned about, except for that we keep making these reels. And I have said multiple times on this podcast, and just in case we have any listeners today who are with us who are new, who are like, what is this podcast? I saw this sort of little mini viral reel. So I released this reel and it goes like a little bit semi-viral. And so maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you saw this on my Instagram or on StickerJunkie's Instagram and you're like, what is this all about? What is going on here? So for those people, a very slight recap is I woke up and was $1.84 million in debt. My company was only doing $438,000 in revenue the previous year. And then in this last year, we did 1.95 million in revenue. So that is like a 500% increase, a 482% increase. And we're targeting doing a 500% increase again this year, so that at the end of the calendar year, we'll be at $10 million in annual revenue. And we're doing that by creating a team. And we have this desire within StickerJunkie to create the best workplace in the world. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. But suffice it to say, I look at numbers a lot. And because I'm targeting a scale of another 500% growth this year, we got to get all our little duckies in a row. Now, for anybody that's new here, I have scaled a company like this before. I scaled delinquent distribution to about $40 million in annual revenue. And then I just was retired in Sedona, drinking marijuana tea, hiking with Rico, living my best life. Woke up $1.84 million in debt, came back into this company to rebuild this company to a large company. And I thought, well, seeing I have to go back into this company anyway, clearly I am called to do this. Clearly there's a reason that I am back in this company. And so I'm going to share my story as widely as I can. And I'm also going to run open books. I'm going to run open financials with my employees. I'm going to show them how business works. And I'm going to share all of my business knowledge that I've acquired over 30 years of starting 14 different companies, many of them that did over $1 million in revenue annual, and just explain the process and what does it look like and how do you do it and how do you have to get your ducks in a row and all of those things. So clearly all of the competitors that I'm talking about today, they have figured those things out. They are larger companies than I am. So when I come in and I'm here and I'm scrappy and I'm ready to run, there's a whole lot more competition on the table than there was when I started StickerJunkie in 1999. As a matter of fact, if I would have put the full force of my focus 100% of the time into StickerJunkie, I would be in the position of being one of the biggest players in the space right now, but I wouldn't be on the bottom side of the biggest players. Girl, I would be on the top side of the biggest players. But like, I owned the sales rights on Minecraft. I was not paying attention to what was going on in StickerJunkie, clearly. So you have this big company, Sticker Mule, who has laid off all of these people, and then in articles is talking about how they're creating jobs on the same day that they're laying off people. It's just so tone deaf. And then on his personal social media, which is almost like a little unfair because it is his personal social media, except for he has talked so much on the corporate social media in such offensive terms about how, Kamala Harris was successful because she fell down Willie Brown's dick, about how so many women at a White Dudes for Harris party put his dick in their mouth, about bringing back the retard pass. Oh my God, you guys, let's do not that. So he has done so many things that are so cringeworthy across party lines. Oh yeah, I've shown these things, the retard pass, to my friends who are Republicans, who are like, excuse me though, fucking what? I'm like, oh yeah, they did like 4 very professional commercials about how they want to bring back the word retard. Let's don't do that. So that's the recap for you guys who are new here. So they're wilding out. But instead of taking ownership over the fact that they're wilding out, and maybe people just don't want to do business with them because they're wilding out, Anthony is very consistently saying, Anthony Constantino, the CEO of Sticker Mule, is consistently saying on social media, people stopped using my company just because I love President Trump and just because I support Trump. And I'm like, no. There's many things that you have been doing that people are finding like, why are you doing that? So last week, the way that we even found out about the bronze statue thing is during the last election cycle, Sticker Mule either started a PAC or partnered with a PAC, or I'm not sure exactly their relationship with this political action committee, but with the political action committee, they were giving away like 500,000 sticker packs of Donald Trump stickers. Well, I know how much that costs, and it costs a very lot. You have to have people who are maybe in his case, robots, who are putting together the sticker packs and stuffing them into an envelope and shipping them out and getting them to the post office. Like, that is a lot of employee hours and time. Also, the cost of the stickers themselves, the machine time that they're using, there's every single cost that you can imagine associated with that. It is not inexpensive to do that. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of money they're spending. And I sort of was curious why. And then I very quickly found out why, because Obvi, we ordered one of those pretty little I love Donald Trump sticker packs so that we could see what they were doing. Clearly, we keep an eye on our competitors over here because we're in the space. And then we started getting hyper-radicalized right-wing political emails from Sticker Mule that their general audience isn't getting. And we've gotten several of these over the last few months. And so the person at my office who received that pack, who got the email, came and showed it to us and was like, whoa, what? He just gave a bronze statue to Donald Trump? What the fuck? Because it emailed out links to Anthony's personal Facebook page where he was posting about having given the statue to Donald Trump. So that came from Sticker Mule and directed people to Anthony's personal social media page where there is a post that is viewable by the public. It's set to being viewed by the public that talks about how Democrats are domestic terrorists because they don't buy stickers from Sticker Mule anymore. And I was like, interesting. That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I am just saying there might be several reasons that they want to go support a different company. They're also like, those Democrats just want to destroy another American-owned company. And I'm like, cool. I am an American-owned company, and I would love your business. I also am a super ally. The reason that I am such an ally to the alphabet mafia and the LGBTQ community, love you, is because of my Aunt Beth. Oh, I have the goosebumps. I love her so much. And she obviously gave me permission to tell this story. So my Aunt Beth is gay. And spoiler alert, she's been gay her whole life. So she also was a military police in the Army for her whole career, 20 years, and then retired and worked as a civilian contractor still for the Army after retirement. And this was during like, you just weren't allowed to be gay time. And then Don't Ask, Don't Tell came up, which arguably, obviously, certainly is better, but come on, not great. And I had this really lovely conversation with her, and it totally made me tear up about how she was like, yeah, I think that if those laws weren't in place, actually, I think I would have been married to her very long-term partner, but obviously that was not an option, and that breaks my fucking heart. That breaks my heart. And so always my whole life, I just never understood, why even is this a political issue? I understand that if somebody's religion says that that is wrong, then cool, but let's do not religion and politics. Let's stop that. If you have a religion, then you follow your religion. And if somebody else has a different religion, they follow their religion. If somebody else has no religion, then they follow no religion. Let's all chill the fuck out and let people do a little bit more of whatever the fuck they want. Because I'm pro-choice for everything. And so as a result of my love for my aunt, and my knowing for sure that she is a good and amazing person, I just always have been super pro LGBTQ, super ally, super pro women. And I don't even understand why these are issues that are coming into politics, period. And I don't understand why anybody else hates what other people are doing in their bedroom where nobody else can see them. It's very weird to me. Or on the streets holding hands. That is a very easy thing to explain to a child. They're like, well, what about the children? I'm like, yes, my parents explained to me at a very early age-appropriate age that this is Beth's girlfriend and that she's gay and that sometimes men and women love each other and sometimes men and men love each other and sometimes women and women love each other. And I was like, okay, cool. Can we go like swimming now? No big deal. And that's always how I've looked at that. So when somebody is bringing in this very, 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 very political type of indoctrinated speaking into their business, where Sticker Mule like reposted something that called Kamala Harris's followers a bunch of lobotomized clapping seals. They continually referred to Kamala Harris as Biden, never mentioning her by name because the guy actually said she doesn't deserve any name recognition. They have been wilding out. And now the new stuff that is being said over and over again is that Democrat by Anthony, this is on his personal page, this one right here, that they are economic terrorists because they're trying to bring down an American company versus they're just spending their money with a different American company. So that all happened the same time that The Apprentice came out. And then Jimmy Kimmel covered it. And it was right when I was trying to scale my companies again. So the timing, like legitimately, just seriously could not have been better. Because in this space, there are those 5 big players. In addition to Sticker Mule, there is StickerGiant, who responded to us on social media this week. StickerGiant was started by a dude I know, a dude in Boulder, John Fisher. I know him because I was living part-time in Boulder for a long time. And great guy, ran his company just like I run my company with open financial books, creating a really good team, etc. Except John in 2021 sold his company to Resource Label Group, which is a lot of entrepreneurs' dreams, right? He got his exit. That's fantastic. Resource Label Group is a consolidator that has rolled up and purchased 34 different companies within that space, within the packaging, promotional materials, sticker, t-shirts, fill in the blank space. They are owned by Ares Management. Ares Management is a private equity fund that is valued at $24 billion. So sometimes when you go on StickerGiant social media, it looks a whole lot like our social media. It looks a whole lot like it's a team. It looks a whole lot like it's a small business. It looks a whole lot like you're supporting a small business, but nay, my friends, they are owned by private equity. They are owned by a $24 billion company. Why does that matter? I will tell you in a second. Then there's another one of our competitors, Sticker App. Sticker App is a European company. It is not an American company. And it also was purchased by private equity. It was purchased by a European private equity fund called, oh God, I'm going to murder the name. It's like Caiadis. Here it is, right here. And when I screenshotted this, I did not do this on purpose. Caiadis is sold, or Creatus is sold on the Stockholm NASDAQ. That's their version of like the New York Stock Exchange or the US NASDAQ. And its current today valuation is $6.66 billion. There is a screenshot of that on the YouTube for those of you who are listening to audio. I am not making that up. It's actually, it was at $6.66 billion today. So Sticker Giant, Sticker App, both owned by private equity, huge private equity companies. And then there's Sticky Brand, which is like two dudes in Vermont, right? So like they're probably pretty great, to be honest. And they are really taking over that space of the Instagram ads. And I can tell that they're doing a high volume of business just from what I'm seeing on Instagram. And then there's us. Then there's us rebuilding this company that used to be a company that would do about $4 million in annual revenue, but that I never put a lot of time and attention into and was just like off living my best life. And now I'm back in this company. And you guys, when I first came back in this company, I was like, oh my God, I am just going to go in there. I am going to rebuild this company and I am going to go be on my merry fucking little way. I am going to build it and I am going to sell it for some multiple of whatever and pay off all the debt and just go live my best life. And then I decided like I'm actually going to rebuild all my companies and build them and sell them and follow it for a series and roll out the StickerWars documentary and roll out the Making of a Billionaire TV show and the current vision. But as I see what's happening with these conglomerations and these roll-ups, and as I see the honestly appalling way that so many employees are being treated by so many companies, I was like, actually, instead, I don't see an ethical way to sell this company, because even if I go sell StickerJunkie to like another person like me, they will then be able to go sell it to private equity. So I started looking into other things like doing an ESOP, which is an employee-owned stock option company, but that is so fucking messy and so difficult. And companies like that just have a very, very hard time because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So instead, I decided that it is an open conversation still with Brian, my chief operations officer, and Jenny and Nicole and Emily. We're just bringing in the whole top team to sort of just discuss, how are we going to do this? But the way that we're doing it right now is I think we're just going to keep it. I think we're just going to keep it and grow it as big as we can grow it. And sometimes people are like, wait, but your podcast is called The Making of a Billionaire, and like, we don't like billionaires. And I'm like, cool, I get that. But somebody's going to be a billionaire. And I'm not even making the argument that I will be the good billionaire. But quite frankly, I'm just going to reallocate tons of my dollars as they come in to whatever most needs to happen in the communities that I live in, because I am going to scale this company to be a really, really, really big company. And I'm going to do it with the ethos of creating the best workplace in the world. And that costs a lot of money to pay people a living wage, like a lot. I'm going to show you some numbers right now that for the entrepreneurs that are watching, I'm going to blow your fucking mind. Now, you guys might already know, so maybe it'll even be the not entrepreneurs who's a little bit more mind blown, but I mean, this math is crazy. So in a company like my company, the very high side that you're going to hold aside for payroll is 22%. That means that for every $100 that you spend on StickerJunkie stickers, $22 of that goes directly to my employees. I'm also intending to hold aside 22% for profit, which means for every $100 that you spend, $22 goes to me. Yay! Except for that, it really doesn't, because there's so much stuff that we have to do when we scale that, like, it's wild. I will not be making money in this company for 2 or 3 years still, because we have so much debt to pay off. We have $2 million in debt to pay off this company. That means every penny that would have gone into profit is going straight towards debt. And right now we're still in the phase where we're buying more equipment, buying more machinery. Like, we want to print labels for you guys. That machine's $600,000. Yeah, it's expensive, because we don't want to just go get a $40,000 machine, because if we get that and you're used to getting your labels from Sticker Mule, which is a huge company, or Sticker Giant, which obviously is a private equity backed huge company, and they have a $600,000 label maker, and then we have our $40,000 one, you're going to be like, well, this is not the quality I'm used to. And I'll be like, yes, that's correct. We're a $2 million company. We couldn't afford a $600,000 machine right now. When you look at the nitty gritty of it, it's crazy. And our goal is to pay everybody a living wage. And sometimes I have like keyboard fucking warriors that are like, well, why don't you just pay a living wage right now? And I'm like, because the math is not mathing on that. And they're like, well, I just think you don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, cool. How many employees do you have? How big of a company have you started? Please explain to me how I should be doing it differently. Dude on TikTok. Sorry, little shade, little internet warriors. So right now we're at $1,000 in annual revenue. I'm gonna do a little calculator trick for people who are on YouTube. For you guys who are listening on audio, don't worry, I will explain it too. If you multiply that 1.95 million by 22%, that is $429,000. So if you take that and divide that by our 16 employees, boop, that's $26,800 a person. If you divide that by how many hours are in a work year, which is 2080, that would be $12.89 per person. That math is not mathing. So I myself am not on payroll, and I'm one of the 16 people that work at the company. So there's 15 people on payroll right now. And that means that we're just overspending on payroll because we just had the most fun event last week as our sales are increasing, where I got to give every single person on my staff a $2 an hour raise. So the minimum wage that we're paying at StickerJunkie right now is $22 an hour. And it is on a sliding scale where nobody is being highly paid in this company right now at all. But where nobody on our staff makes more than 3.5 times the bottom person on the staff. And right now, right today, right this second, payroll is going from $22 to $35. That's the range. And there's only one person that's up at a higher range. And spoiler alert, it is not me. I am not on payroll because the company can't afford it. Everyone knows that they are going to get more and more and more as time goes on. And if we hit these charts that I talked about on the last episode, like we put these really fun charts on the wall where we say like we need to make $175,000 in revenue this month. Like we actually need to make $175,000 in revenue this month. We need to make $208,000 in revenue the month after that. We need to make $235,000 in revenue the month after that. We need to make $270,000 in revenue the month after that. And if we hit all of those target points, we can afford to give healthcare insurance to our people. So right now, we're tolerating a higher payroll than is financially healthy for the life of the company. It's not healthy for a company to spend 38% on payroll. And if we don't increase our sales, we will not be able to continue to do that, which is why we are sprinting so quickly down all these different avenues to get more sales. So when an end user, when a client is like, I might go take this deal that this private equity company is offering because they can fucking afford to, and sell 1,000 stickers at a loss for $89 or sell 100 stickers at a loss for $9. We can't compete with that. We have to make money off of the things that we do. We can't even afford to have loss leaders. We will have to get to $13.4 million in revenue in order for us to be able to pay our employees a living wage in San Diego County. A living wage in San Diego County is $32 an hour. That's a lot, right? That's $65,800 a year. Then you multiply that and add another 25% for like the healthcare coverage, all of the paid time off, all of the additional benefits and stuff that we offer. That's $72,800 a person. And as you just saw right now, from my little dog and pony show, we only have $26,000 a person right now. So we need to triple our sales before we can pay our employees. And we will show you guys when we give pay raises because it matters. It matters when you tell your friends to come buy from a small business. It matters when you choose to buy a small business. You guys who are watching, who are clients, there's a fucking reason that I'm like, you have no idea how much we appreciate you. When I was sending out the Trader Joe's packages, I ended up having a Zoom with our biggest client. This is a Fortune 500 client. This is a client whose services you use every day. This is a client who everyone would know if I said their name, but I legally am not allowed to say their name. And he was like, wow, I just appreciated the letter so much and I appreciated the package so much. And I'm like, I know I say all the time how much I appreciate you, but I appreciate you so much. They spend about maybe $140,000 a year with us on stickers. So they are a huge percentage of our revenue right now. And they just don't even get it, how big of a deal it is to us to have clients like that. And now, because of Stickergate, we have a few Fortune 500s. We have a few huge institutions. We have a few just massive nonprofits that have switched over and are purchasing from us. And every single one of them really matters because every $100 that comes in the door is $22 to my employees. So when we double our sales, we will have double as much money for payroll. When we triple our sales, triple as much. And because it's my ethos in the company that when I win, everybody wins. This is not a company that I can just go build by myself. I think that it's this really gross premise that happens a lot on both sides of CEOs who say, I'm the CEO and I'm the most important part and fuck them. I can replace the employees and the company doesn't exist without me. And then there is this really gross thing that gets said sometimes of like, the company doesn't exist without the employees and fuck the CEOs and they're fucking stupid anyway. And I'm like, cool. Wow, this is such an adversarial space. Let's do not any of this. Because the truth of the matter is they're both right. The company doesn't exist without the CEO and it doesn't exist without the employees, but it doesn't exist without the C team and it doesn't exist without a support team. It doesn't. And if we restructure our thinking to like, hey, this is a team. Do I want to win more than 3.5 times harder than another member on my team? No. Am I the team captain? Sure. Is Brian the team co-captain? Sure. Is Jenny an assistant coach? Sure. Is Emily an assistant coach? Yeah. Or Dave or Dana or Michi or any of our managers or Courtney? Yes. So there's a huge support system within the company and there will be a sliding scale in the company. It's not like every single person will just only ever make $32. It will go up from there because I want everybody to win as we win as a company. And guess fucking what? I said this before, but I don't think I've ever said it quite as clearly. I could take when we go up to $100 million in revenue, let's say, which is our target. Like, I am not messing around. I am not fucking around even a little bit. Even though I'm just a gnat around all of their heads right now, I'll tell you one thing that is for goddamn sure. I would not want to compete against me. I really would not. And right now, I am going into this space to win a larger market share of this space through intensely, amazingly, profoundly good, shockingly good customer service, and through soliciting the absolute very best from all of my fucking brilliant team members. Because guess what? When we treat team members as the profoundly valuable assets that they are and ask them, solicit their brilliance, express to them verbally when they have done a great job. One of my favorite team members, Courtney, I feel like she almost never gets enough recognition, and Michi too, because they are both in the design team and they're so heads down, and the things that they're producing in general are just like everything is getting done on time, everything is turning on time, and the organizational back end to make sure your order gets to you quickly enough. We couldn't function without them right now. But sometimes, David created the stickers that are behind me if you're watching on YouTube, and Dana helped with all of the measurements and created the podcast studio with Brian and Hayden helping. And so sometimes they get a little bit more thank yous and call outs on the pod than Courtney and Michi, but I appreciate you guys so much. And Wendy, oh my God, Wendy is such a jack of all trades. Anyway, I'm off in the weeds. So as we are building this really tight team, do I want Mads or Wendy to win? Do I want to win 100 times harder than them? Or do I want to win 100 times harder than Jenny? Do I want to just like say, okay, we're at 100 million in revenue now. Instead of doing 22% payroll, suddenly you guys are going to have payroll of 13%. You're still going to be well paid. You're going to be super happy, but I'm going to take all of the rest of that profit for myself and put it in my pocket. Or do I want everyone to win? I think that it's very clear that I want everyone to win. And that is why Brian and I have been grappling, especially in the last couple of weeks, as we see the growth that's in front of us, as we get clearance after clearance after clearance after clearance to take these big clients, as we're talking to these big clients and they're transitioning over to us, as they're loving our Backpage system where they can easily, like seamlessly through the whole corporation incorporate purchasing. The growth is coming, but we need our clients right now. And so we're figuring out ways to convey on social media, why is it important that you choose us over StickerGiant, especially when StickerGiant looks like a super fun sort of a team, a family that we never call it a family at StickerJunkie because families be familying. We all have families. We all know what we need. I love my family, obviously, but like, come on, we're a team. We are a team that uplifts other team members. And so when we see some of our competitors who we know are owned by private equity presenting themselves that way and then commenting to like really small local businesses like, oh, we'll hook you up, we'll help you out. I'm like, that's a private equity company. That's not the same. When we hook someone up, like a creator that created this amazing reel that we loved. And so we sent them a $250 store credit to try us out and offered him one of the beta affiliate positions that we have where we give people 10% for the first 2 years of the life of the client. If you're a creator and you have a following and you see that and you want to be one of our affiliates, reach out because we are putting people on our beta affiliate program. And he was like, oh my God, that's so cool that you gave me $250. And we're like, yes, totally, for sure. But like, we feel it when we give somebody $250. We don't have a ton of extra revenue right now. Every penny that's coming in the door is accounted for. So every penny extra that comes in the door is like a relief. It's like manna from heaven. And once we hit a certain point of scale, it's going to feel a little bit less tender that we like absolutely fucking must need to hit our month. But right now, people's raises are predicated on that. Like, we can't give another raise. We can't in July. If we don't get to 270,000 a month by July, we would literally will not be able to afford to implement the healthcare plan that we want to afford until we hit that goal. And so I wanted to just come in here today on the pod and articulate like why it's so important to support small businesses, because like everybody's like, well, why aren't you paying your people fairly? But I also want 9 stickers for $50. And you're doing it wrong if you can't make both of those things happen. It reminds me of the old adage that I talked about before. You can get good, you can get fast, you can get cheap. And because we can't run those offers for cheap, a really consistent comment that we get is like, you guys are expensive. And I'm like, but we're not. We're literally the exact same price as our competitors because we're all sort of very, very closely priced. We all fucking look at each other's pricing. And it's really hard for us to stay at that pricing. We do need to increase our pricing, especially with the wildness of the tariffs and economies. And when people are making a shopping decision based just on dollars, I understand because everyone's pinching pennies on their side too. But we're worth the $5 extra that you're going to spend on our order. We just are. If you have a mistake, we're going to make it right. And we're people. And when my company grows, I win and my people win. And right now, my people, quite frankly, win harder than I do because I'm supposed to get 22% for profit. And right now, the profit would just go straight to debt. It's not like it goes in my pocket. But instead, I'm spending 38% on payroll. Anything over 22%, that comes out of my profit. So that means I'm spending every single month right now 16% of what I should be taking in profit and giving it on payroll to my employees to make sure they are well taken care of and they are well compensated because I need them on my team. And all of them have taken pay cuts to come work for me. All of them could go get higher paying jobs right now, every single one of them. But we all see the common vision of what we're doing and what we're building. And I wish, I'm gonna fucking cry. So you guys, I'm gonna fucking cry because I am tearing up. I wish that I could convey what it is like to go into my office at StickerJunkie. We are very soon gonna hire somebody who's like an expert at YouTube so that we can start really filming stuff and filming content for the show and filming it sort of more show oriented or like story oriented 10-minute reels on YouTube so you can like see what it's like there. But I'm not fucking making this up. Like, we're having an Easter egg hunt today at StickerJunkie. How fun does that sound? Yeah, I can't wait. They were supposed to do it on Monday, but I'm going to be traveling next week. And so Jenny was like, surprised me when I was walking out the door and said, we're actually going to do it on Friday so that you get to come. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. We have such a good time. We have a good time with each other. All of my coworkers are like becoming friends with each other. And they're getting together this weekend, a bunch of them, and meeting up with a woman that used to work for us and like taking her out. I don't even know. I think they're going antiquing or something. We actually really enjoy spending time with each other. It's actually a place where friendships really get formed. And these bonds of camaraderie are just awesome. And you can't replace something like that. And the amount of direct benefit that my employees understand comes to them as we scale, as we grow, as we pace up, they know when they get their pay raises. I talked to them and they decided that they wanted more healthcare coverage as the next thing that we do as a team. And then right after that, the quarter after that, if we hit our numbers in that quarter, then there's a secondary round of raises, even though they just got a raise last week. And at the end of the last quarter of the year, if we hit our numbers, there's another pay raise because I desperately want all of my employees to be in a position where they can go buy a house if they want to buy a house. They can have a baby if they want to have a baby. They can go travel the world and take a month off and like go live their best life if that's what they want to do with the extra amount of actual I can go live income. And when I was thinking this week about the 68 people who got laid off with what appeared to be very, very little notice at Sticker Mule, and then the dude comes out with an article that says he's been planning this for the last 2 years because of automation automation, I'm like, you did not think to structure this in a way where you could absorb those 68 people into another area? If it really is true that he's winning as hard as a person can win, and he's just getting rid of them because he's replacing them with robots, which is what he said in this article. Automate, 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 fewer people, higher wages. Or you could just pay them also higher wages and have the same amount of people and absorb them into another area of your company, or that. But everybody has their own business model and their own what they are doing. If as I build and scale this company, and we do use the newest technologies available, and there are some things that like a robotic arm might do a little bit better with pulling out the stickers, and it won't, hurt their fingers and like whatever. Will we use that? Yes. Will we displace anybody who's pulling stickers right now? No, we will not. We will figure out where else within the company that they can be absorbed as we go, as we scale. Just the way that it came out, I just thought, I can't imagine if I was one of the employees that had been laid off. In this very teeny tiny small town where everybody sees each other in the grocery store. How do I know that? Because I live part-time in Sedona, Arizona. And I was the head of Yappy Hour for years. Yeah, there's a field in Sedona, a grassy field, which obviously Sedona is in the desert in Arizona. Not a lot of grass. And once a week, we used to get to go to Yappy Hour and let the dogs play on the grassy field. That was super fun. There's a really nice dog park in Sedona, so Yappy Hour is not a thing anymore. And about 68 people would go. And I barely could go to the grocery store in Sedona. I would see somebody from Yappy Hour or 2 or 3 people from Yappy Hour virtually every time that I would go out anywhere to do anything in town, because 18,000 people is not a lot of people. I can't imagine a town that size absorbing 68 people into an equally well-paid and equally well-compensated job. So somebody that's there that may be relocated to that tiny town in order to take that particular job, or just bought a house and set down roots. Can you imagine if you closed a house in the last 2 months? So you can't just easily get up and go, or just had a baby, or are about to have a baby, or are taking care of aging parents, or are a single person that has a whole plan for their career and for their life, and very suddenly that is fractured. And they are very quickly going to have to scramble and figure shit out. It's a lot. That is a lot. I will not ever do that. Ever. I will never forget that I have human beings working for me. I will never forget. Sorry, guys. Whew. I will never forget that when I take an employee on and a new team member on, that I have agreed that I am responsible to them and they are responsible to me. I know that in the beginning of this podcast, I told you guys what I tell new hires when they come in. I give everyone the same speech. I say, it's something I got from the US military. I say, don't be good, don't be great, be extraordinary, give me your best. Become irreplaceable to me. Because I run too far and fast, and if you do not make yourself irreplaceable to me, I promise that I will replace you. It will not be personal. You will know that it is coming. But the people that are on my team, they run fast too. And everyone on my team is so good at their particular job, and they're so good at reaching outside of their job. And now, just this week, we have it so that every single person on the team is on an additional committee because they want to be. And so Mads just joined the booth team. Koa just joined the booth team. I'm so excited. I think Koa also joined the outings committee because we plan all these very fun outings. The outings committee would be responsible for the Easter egg hunt. And when I take on a team member, if we are to readjust our strategies, which inevitably we will do as time moves forward, we will mindfully place the team members where they go within our team. And so it just broke my heart, that explanation, because I put myself in the position of an employee hearing about this dude going into the local newspaper and talking about he's creating more jobs through automation on the day that he actually fired people. I would be like, dude, I'm living in the upside down. You're not creating more jobs. You just fired 68 fucking people that I know, my neighbors. That's what you just did. And then the optics of going and giving away a statue that another newspaper in Amsterdam reported was valued at $275,000. Now, did that $275,000 come from Sticker Mule money? No. Anthony responded in his comments that he bought the statue. And I'm like, cool. You are allowed to buy whatever you want with your money. If I had to restructure and let people go, would I spend $275,000 on a statue, or would I distribute that to the people that I had just let go? I think that you have watched me talk enough on a podcast to know the answer to that question. So when he's out there being like, Democrats are economic terror, I'm not even a Democrat. Democrats are economic terrorists because they don't want to buy from my company. I'm like, no, there might be a whole lot of reasons. They might see the way that you're commenting to people, because one person who I believe was a person who had been let go from the company was like, dude, how tone deaf is this? How much does it even cost to go to dinner at Mar-a-Lago? Like, what are you doing? And you guys, one thing doesn't have anything to do with another. And I do get that. Like, he's allowed to go live his life. And if he had this thing planned, and it's probably very exciting for him to go and have dinner with the president of the United States. And also, government contracts are huge. If he has a chance to go and talk to the president of the United States, who very famously gives contracts to people that he likes, then absolutely he should be doing that. And if he's kissing the ring, then go to live your best life and get all the government contracts. But this person commented, like, how much does it even cost to go to dinner at Mar-a-Lago when you're laying off all these people? The dude commented back to that person, oh, it's about $1,000 for 6 people. I'm like, what? Do you see what you just did there? There might be a whole lot of reasons that people are coming over to our company from your company. I am just saying. There might be a whole lot of reasons that that's happening. One thing that I know for sure that I've said before, that even I got some feedback privately from some of my friends who watch the podcast or listen to the podcast, is like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely reaching out to Anthony to be in the StickerWars documentary. Of course, I think he will want to be in the StickerWars documentary. He has a huge personality. He is on TV interviews all of the time. He is built for the camera, and I want him to talk just as much as he wants about what he believes. I am still super down to do that town hall. Maybe we could do it on Jimmy Kimmel Live and talk about our different perspectives, or wherever, because it is wild. And you can't cover the sticker universe without covering the 5 players that I just talked about. Actually, maybe you could bounce Sticky Brown. I don't think they're that big, and cover like Vistaprint or Mule instead. But I think it would be really interesting to cover another competitor that also is privately owned. So anyway, that's the pod for today. There is other news. I am going to the Milken Institute because I'm in such a fucking weird position of like, I was super wealthy and a super successful entrepreneur, but I'm a bootstrapper. KK. I have never taken money from private equity. I have never taken money from venture capital. I certainly considered it right now as we're wanting to scale so quickly, but I'm like, no, I'm going to bootstrap it. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to explain to them why they should come to me. I am going to use every connection I have to get in front of every college, university, Fortune 500, government contract, that I can get in front of. And so I'm going to the Milken Institute this in a couple weeks, which is a fancy place where fancy people go and talk about fancy things. And it's a very, very expensive conference to go to, but luckily I got a ticket from a friend of mine at Milken. So thank you very much for that. And Aries Management, who purchased Sticker Giant, is going to be there. And I don't know what other private equity groups are going to be there, but I am not selling to private equity. I am not going to do that. And now I'm curious to see what we are going to do with the company, because we're sort of like, whoa, in the making of a billionaire, it sort of didn't really occur to me at the beginning of calling it that. I just called it that because I came up with that name like 20 years ago. I was like, oh, that'd be a really good name for a show. Now I am hyper super aware that nobody needs $1 billion. I don't need $1 billion. What the fuck? But do I want to trade my trading portfolio to $1 billion? Yes. Why? So that I can prove that I'm really one of the best traders in the world. Do I want to trade it higher than that? Sure. Why would I stop at $1 billion? Will I take every penny that I make from trading and just distribute it into whatever community that I'm living in at that point? Yeah, I will, because I will not need that extra money. Everyone in my life will be so set up and taken care of at that point that I just won't need anything extra. And I love trading with my whole heart. And I want to see if I can actually be the best trader in the world. And on a trading update, my trading portfolio is up by 24.2%. And I started trading in January with a very small portfolio. And I'm very, very excited at the quickness of the pace of growth of it, because I'm just like casually on the side going to spin up this huge trading portfolio. And I did get some clarity from my general counsel of how I can start to explain what it is that I do in trading to where it is legal for me to do that. So I will be talking about compounding returns in future episodes also. And I hope you guys are just great. And I almost forgot to tell you guys at the Milken Institute, I have set up a meeting with a friend of mine, we're going to hang out the whole time that I'm there because he's a friend of mine, with this dude who helped to build the agency CAA in Hollywood. It's a big fancy agency that represents like a lot of very famous actors and stuff in Hollywood. And he also spun out the economic investment arm of CAA. And his first big investment to invest in tech and entertainment, like back in 2005, was a $20 million Series A investment in Netflix. He also runs the economic arm of the World Economic Forum, and he was like an executive producer on The Aviator. He's just like this baller Hollywood guy that I am friends with. And I'm going to ask him for the correct introduction at Netflix for me to pitch them the show and the series. Then I also reached out to a couple of other business groups that I'm in and said, hey, I want to get over at Netflix. I have somebody that I think might do it, but like, if you have a really direct route for me to tell this story a little bit more widely, please hit me up. So we'll see what happens. And again, I don't have any discussions with them or Amazon Prime. Seen The Apprentice is on Amazon Prime now. Hello. But I just have my heart set for the documentary on Netflix. It seems like a perfect fit to me, and it seems like something that could trend over the course of a weekend. And they could start with StickerWars about the madcapped multi-billion-dollar world of stickers, and then we could do like something else wars. Do you know? Covering the candy industry or something. I think it would be a really fun series of documentaries. So that does it for me today. I hope you are entertained. If you were, please like, comment, follow. I know that I sometimes do very long, like, hey, this really helps creators, but I'm not going to do a really long one. Like, please just subscribe to my very sad 123 subscriber count. I really, really, really want to get that number up. If you're watching me on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are on Instagram, please follow me at Andrea Lake 101, and please subscribe on any podcast platform that you're on, because the more subscribers that you have, the more that feeds into the algorithm to kick it out, to recommend it to other people. And I just want this story to be more widely shared. Why? Because the more widely shared the story is, the more revenue that people are going to spend at StickerJunkie.com, where you can use the promo code AndreaLake101 to get 10% off. And the more quickly that I can pay my people the wages that they actually deserve. I can't tell you the degree to which I want to take money off of the table for them and for myself. So I want them to be able to be making this thriving, thriving wage. And I want me to be able to pay off all of the debt of the company within the next 2 years. And so that's my little dog and pony show. Please tell everybody you know to get their stickers from StickerJunkie. Please subscribe, please like, please share. If you see a piece of content that we do and you like it, pretty please share it to your stories. And that does it for me today. And I will see you guys next time on Andrea Lake 101, The Making of a Billionaire.